We've seen is that there is a tremendous effort by lawyers, by Palestinian lawyers, by Lebanese lawyers, by international lawyers, for example, in the Hind Rajab Foundation and elsewhere, to pursue these war criminals. We're seeing, efforts like that of the South African government to take the Zionist regime to the International Court of Justice to hold it accountable. But in reality, unfortunately, what this is leaving behind is a reality, a practice, a material fact in which the United States is vetoing every resolution that comes forward at the Security Council, and in which every single principle of the UN Charter, of human rights instruments, of the Geneva Conventions are slaughtered on a daily basis.
Hey everybody, this is Laith Marouf from Free Palestine TV, and we are in the Martyr Square in the middle of Beirut downtown. We are participating in a gathering of journalists and notables in the country here to condemn the targeting and attacks on Palestinian and Lebanese journalists by the Zionist military and the Zionist state. Before we continue with this coverage, I ask you to press the subscribe button on whatever social media platform you're watching this on, and to go to our website, freepalestine.video, to donate so we can continue bringing you this coverage. Of course, there's over 250 Palestinian journalists and media workers that have been killed by the Zionists in direct, deliberate attacks over the last 23 months. And there is also 7 Lebanese journalists and media workers that were also martyred in these attacks over the last 23 months. We ourselves and our team of FPTV, me and Hadi, have been targeted by missiles, have been chased by drones during our work. And this is the norm for any journalist on the front lines here in Lebanon and in Palestine. We're gonna take a tour in there, speak to different people about their opinions, and take some of these speeches for you to understand what's happening.
كل من يتورط في استهدافهم. خامسا واخيرا نثمن دور الحملة العالمية التي اطلقتها منظمة مراسلون بلا حدود احتجاجا على استهداف الاحتلال الفاشل.
We're with Courtney Bono. Welcome back to Beirut. You have been on the front lines for most of this war.
Yes.
And you have been a target of Israeli threats and weapons. You're here to commemorate the attacks on journalists in Palestine and in Lebanon. Why do you feel, as a journalist, that you need to show solidarity with the rest of the journalists here? And what do you think should be done to stop the Israelis from their crimes?
What do I think should be done?
Yes.
I think it's about time that the world does a military intervention. It's time. It's time. We need a coalition of the willing. And I'm here to show solidarity, obviously, with my slain colleagues in Palestine and in Lebanon.
You were targeted multiple times. Maybe you can tell us, our audience, about one of those worst times.
One of the worst times was in Mais al-Jaba, and I saw a sniper in the window of a bombed building that I was photographing. I could see his little red light, and he started shooting at my feet, and that was scary. I was with the Lebanese army, and they opened fire on us. We hadn't been approaching or anything, and then they came in their little, their blue buggy thing. They started to advance towards us. And this I found really scary, because I would rather die than be kidnapped by them, to be honest. Personally, that was the scariest time. They've shot past my head. They've opened fire on me 7 times, and 4 times personally when I was alone.
Well, we wish you safety.
Thank you.
And please continue doing your work, as all these journalists are, and you are witnesses to these crimes and bringing the voice of the people to the rest of the world. Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
ومن غير الصحفيين يقوموا بهذه المهمة فحللت قتلهم. قصفت الخيام والسيارات التي تحمل كلمة صحافة بأحرف واضحة. وفي لبنان ارتقى 19 شهيدا والحبل على الجرار إذا لم تتوقف المذبحة.
So we're with a member of the International Association of Democratic Lawyers. You're here for the commemoration of all these attacks. It was this International Day of Solidarity with journalists in Lebanon and Palestine that have been killed. As a lawyer and a member of this association, what do you think the law can offer in terms of protection of these journalists?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, one of the realities that we've seen is that international law has not been essentially holding up the standard that it claims to represent in the world, and that this is really a crisis because even the bare minimum of international law that exists is being torn to shreds with absolute impunity by the Zionist regime and by its imperialist backers in the United States, Europe, Canada, Britain, Australia, and elsewhere. We've seen is that there is a tremendous effort by lawyers, by Palestinian lawyers, by Lebanese lawyers, by international lawyers, for example, in the Rajab Foundation and elsewhere, to pursue these war criminals. We're seeing, efforts like that of the South African government to take the Zionist regime to the International Court of Justice to hold it accountable. But in reality, unfortunately, what this is leaving behind is a reality, a practice, a material fact in which the United States is vetoing every resolution that comes forward at the Security Council, and in which every single principle of the UN Charter, of human rights instruments, of the Geneva Conventions are slaughtered on a daily basis by the Zionist regime. I mean, we look at everything from the assassination of journalists, which is a massive war crime and a crime against humanity, and it's being conducted as part of a genocide which is supposed to be the greatest crime in international law, and yet we're moving toward the opening of the General Assembly of the United Nations, and as far as we can see, the Zionist regime is going to take a seat there when it should be expelled from the United Nations if that body wants to maintain its relevance as something that can actually represent the people of the world and the nations of the world in defending any future of security, peace, and freedom, and human rights for peoples. I mean, obviously, we know that international law has a very colonial history in many ways, but we also know that the current corpus of international law was shaped by the struggles of colonized people fighting for their liberation. I mean, the fact is that international law unambiguously upholds the rights of people under occupation and colonialism to resist through armed struggle, including explicitly the Palestinian people. And of course, this also applies to the people of Lebanon, and this applies to the people of Syria. This applies to all of the people of the region that are fighting against Zionist colonialism and imperialist hegemony and domination. But the attack on journalists is one portion of an outright assault, a genocide on the people of Palestine, a genocide on the people of Lebanon, the Arab people, the people of the region as a whole, and even on the very principles of international law, such that they were shaped by the anti-colonial struggles of the people of the world.
Charlotte Cates, member of the International Association of Democratic Lawyers, thank you very much for your answers there.
ندعو كافة وسائل الإعلام الحرة في العالم إلى تصعيد الضغط من أجل حماية الصحفيين ومحاسبة من يعتدي عليهم، لأن الصحافة ليس جريمة والحقيقة لا تقبل.
Ali Sbeiti, journalist, media activist, you have been in your country, Lebanon, throughout this whole war, and you've seen all these targeting of journalists. What, number one, have any experiences that you lived over the last 2 years of targeting? And second, what is your message to the rest of the world?
Well, of course, we've been through war, through 66 days in Lebanon. I've been all the time during the war in Beirut, in Dahiyeh, which was bombarded every day. And in South Lebanon, especially the first days after the ceasefires, we were there with the people, with everyone who's getting back to their villages. And even with the ceasefire, civilians and journalists were targets there for the Israeli, because we know journalists were killed during and after the war with of course, with civilians, and we're always a target. Like whenever you go to south, and of course you know it as well. Whenever you go to the borders, you see the drone directly over your head, and sometimes you get shot at. Luckily, we haven't been injured yet, but we've been thrown bombs at. We've been followed by drones all the way. We've been shot at, especially in Houla and Ramia and Aita, which is directly on the borders. And this is the daily life for the Lebanese people in South Lebanon. It's not just about journalists. They target civilians, but also they target journalists for a reason, to silence them or to prevent them from going there and showing the truth. Our message to the world, especially from this solidarity with the Palestinian journalists, is that we should always support the truth. We should always support spreading the truth, spreading the words that you see from journalists. When a journalist share or mentions news, sometimes he pays from his own blood to share this, and sometimes he pays his life for it to show you this truth. Especially our beloved brothers in Gaza. It's not an easy work for them, and they are being targeted daily. So just always support them, always speak about them. They are speaking about their people. You speak about them and share their message and share their struggle to the world.
Ali Sbaiti, thank you very much. Inshallah, we wish you safety, and we're all the journalists in Lebanon and Palestine.
You too.
Habib.
You too.
This was a global day of solidarity with the Palestinian journalists and the Lebanese journalists. It was called by Reporters Without Borders and all these agencies and media outlets, but mainly non-Western actually joined it.
Of course.
Do you feel that this will have any effect on these Western journalists who have been justifying the genocide for so long?
When any journalist can feel separated from other people, from other journalists or from other people, he can feel like, okay, I'm not gonna be subject to what these people are subject to. I'm not gonna be subject to what these journalists are enduring of violence, of terrorism, of deliberate attacks, of killing, of genocide. When anyone, even let's say if people were in Lebanon and they were feeling that they are separated and they are not in the same ship with those journalists, they can act as Westerners, even if they were not Westerners. And we are seeing this sometimes. People, journalists, even in Lebanon, they are acting like other journalists are not related to them. The Western journalists, of course, many of them individually are in solidarity with the people of Palestine, are doing what they can, and if maybe they are doing their best, the best thing they can think of, the best thing they can do to try to be in solidarity with the people of Palestine and with the journalists of Palestine. And they are also doing some journalist work to send the message of the people of Palestine, because the people of Gaza are not able to do this due to the terrorism of the Israelis and the genocide against the journalists. They are wiping out journalists. They want to kill the voice of the people of Gaza. And they announced it. They are doing it every day. Today, only today, a journalist, a woman, was killed this morning in a deliberate targeting to her tent or to her house, and she died. Now, Western journalists who work for imperialist media are on the other side of the front line. They are with the Zionist entity, they are with the Zionist regime, and they are collaborators to what's happening to the people of Gaza, all Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Iran. They are in collaboration. They are doing their part of the job to
justify our killing.
Justify our killing.
You know, over the last year and a half of our work, we have been targeted We don't make a big deal about it because the story is not us. But we've seen other journalists also targeted, and we have been targeted with missiles, white phosphorus, sharpnel missiles, drones following us, getting bullets fired around us.
Only 3 days ago, we were actually documenting the attack against the police car, and just when you went outside the car to document the attack against the police car, the Israeli drone just came and wanted us to go outside.
It was threatening, and
village.
we had to leave, and we came back eventually, and we filmed because that's our duty. We obviously don't want to risk our life for no reason, especially a shitty Israeli drone ending it in that way. But we will continue as the journalists in
All the journalists here,
Palestine and here, the Lebanese journalists that are patriotic are continuing, and some of the international
we
journalists
have
that we see.
very, very exceptional international journalists who are refusing to leave Lebanon, and they are not working for imperialist media. Instead, they are insisting on staying in Lebanon to document what's happening. Inshallah, we'll be working with all of them, and we are working with all of them to come out with the best anti-propaganda, anti-imperialist, anti-imperialist propaganda that we can to try to give the audience, especially the Western audience who doesn't know what's happening here because of all the filters and the gates imposed by all of those this manipulation and control of the media. We are trying to do our best with those journalists to reveal what we can to this audience.
Well, this was Laith Marouf and Hadi Hotait with you. We ask you one more time to press the subscribe button on whatever social media platform you're watching this on, and to go to our website freepalestine.video to donate so we can continue this work. And until we see you next time, we'll bid you all a free Palestine and a free Lebanon.